Hi, I'm Brenton Goodman, and this is You Decide, a series where I break down hot button issues using facts, law, and the Constitution. I won't tell you what to think, I'll just give you the information so that you can decide. Now today we're talking about a big controversy, the Trump administration freezing nearly $396 billion in federal grants and expenses. The Trump administration says it's a necessary review of spending, while others call it a violation of presidential power. So, can a president legally withhold money Congress has already approved? Well, the Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse. That means Congress and not the president decides how federal money is spent. This happens through a process called appropriations, where Congress lays out how much money agencies can spend, the purpose for spending the money, and what types of activities can be supported. Sometimes, Congress allows agencies to spend money without specific appropriations, and may give the executive agencies broad discretion with how to fund certain programs. However, the Supreme Court has been very clear. Once Congress allocates that money, the president must spend it as directed. The president doesn't get to unilaterally decide where or how the money is used. That would be acting like a king and not an elected leader whose main duty is to faithfully execute the laws written by Congress. But there are some cases where the president can hold back funds, but only under certain conditions. One way is through deferrals, where the president can temporarily delay spending if the funds aren't immediately needed. An example of this would be holding back disaster relief funds until a hurricane actually hits. Another way to hold back funds could be through rescissions, where the president can ask Congress to cancel funds. But, and this is important, Congress must approve the request. If Congress refuses, the money must still be spent. So what is Trump's administration doing? Trump's team argues that Article 2 of the Constitution, which grants executive power to a president of the United States, gives him more control over spending by executive agencies than current law recognizes. After all, unless Congress calls for funds to go to specific organizations, it has always been the executive branch that determined what organizations should be funded, and if the organizations aren't keeping with the legal purpose of the funds, the president has an obligation not to spend the money. Plus, they claim they aren't withholding funds, it's just a temporary programmatic delay to make sure money is being spent properly. President Trump would also say that if what he is doing is incorrect, then Congress could easily just pass a law directing him to spend the money that is currently frozen, and its lack of doing so is an acknowledgement of the support for his actions. But critics argue that instead of pausing specific programs for review, Trump is freezing nearly all federal spending with no intention of continuing the spending if it is for something the administration does not like DEI, sports leagues that involve transgender athletes, or universities that allow certain protests. They indicate that it is not a single person who gets to determine what initiatives should be funded, but the people through their representatives in Congress. To them, the president's actions are what our founding fathers wished to avoid, a king-like singular person deciding on his own what should be funded. So, what do you think? Are Trump's initiatives a justified review of federal spending or an abuse of presidential power? I'm Brenton Goodman, and this is You Decide. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.